In this video, what I'd like to do is provide an overview of some important things about my self-paced course on addressing cultural and spiritual issues within treatment for psychosis. And to start with, I want to address the question of why do I think that's important that we do a better job of addressing those things. And I think there's a few different kinds of importance that we might look at. To start with, there's the fact that treatment will often be less effective or even possibly harmful when cultural and spiritual issues and differences and the way those differences intertwine with psychosis are not addressed and appreciated, as they often aren't. And that's because when professionals lack understanding of and interest in important aspects of the people they're attempting to serve, they often have trouble forming trusted collaborative relationships with those people. And research has shown that it's that formation of a good and collaborative relationship that is at the very core of successful treatment. There's also the danger that when we don't understand people's culture or their spiritual life and spiritual journey, we might mistake unique cultural and spiritual things about that person with mental disorders or illnesses, and then try to eliminate those aspects of the person. And that can make treatment actively harmful to people, as well as generate a lot of unnecessary resistance. And when we make those kind of mistakes, we're violating our ethical responsibility to recognize and value people's culture and spirituality. And there's things like the danger that we might propose treatment approaches that conflict with or just don't connect well with people's cultural and spiritual beliefs and practices. On the other hand, when we do have a better understanding of those things, we can often make treatment work better, and really people engage more, and we come up with solutions that are more meaningful to them and that actually become part of their life. Now, in addition to helping you offer more effective and respectful treatment, I think you're also likely to find some aspects of this course to be personally enriching or possibly even mind expanding. And that's because the course, gets you to try to understand people who are experiencing reality and experiencing themselves very differently from how you are or what you've seen before. And so that gets you considering a lot of questions and different points of view and ways of looking at things like, well, what is the nature of reality and how much do we know about that? And what's the meaning of being human? And how are our minds really separate from and connected to everything else? You might really find yourself challenged to open your mind in new ways. So I'll give you an overview of some of the topics that we'll cover in the course. We'll definitely be looking at how to apply cultural competence and cultural humility within treatment for psychosis, as I was saying, to increase the effectiveness in treatment. We'll be exploring relationships between psychosis and various forms of oppression that can happen, like racism, and how those forms of oppression often have carried over into mental health treatment, and how it's provided. And then we'll look at how to fight against some of that oppression, and take it into account when we're providing treatment for people. And we'll work on understanding the relationship between cultural phenomena like conspiracy theories and what some have called collective psychosis, and how that relates to delusional beliefs within individuals who have psychosis. Now, conspiracy theories are playing a bigger role in the national and world stage in recent years and deeply affect the lives of many people we encounter. So that's really worth some attention. We're going to be exploring how psychotic experiences are addressed and how people are helped with those experiences in cultures that are very different from our own, and look at what we might learn from that. And that'll be part of exploring how to shift away from what many people have described as the colonizing approach of much of traditional mental health treatment. And we'll look at shifting to a more respectful or even emancipatory approach. one interesting issue we'll be looking at relates to how, even though cultures vary a lot and how they understand and approach reality, and so what is considered to constitute psychosis can be a bit different in different cultures, it's still been found that a portion of people in all cultures studied do fall into states identifiable as psychosis. So related to that, we're going to explore the possibility of understanding psychosis as something that often happens when individuals, for various reasons, start thinking and experiencing things in a way that breaks away to a serious degree from the patterns that are common in their culture. And we'll be looking at how falling into a psychosis can be understood as a process in a mind that's kind of like the process of revolution in a country. And like a revolution, it can be initiated for the purpose of liberation from oppressive patterns, though it risks falling into ongoing chaos and confusion that can cause really massive harm. And you might find that this metaphor or model is a more nuanced way of understanding psychosis that helps make sense, for example, of what some people find as something positive in psychosis. And it will help you better work with people as they sort out for themselves how much they want to hold on to their own alternative or even revolutionary perspectives, and how much they want to return to something we might see as more traditional or normal. And that's important because recovery is often partly about completing a transformation and not just a return to an initial condition, because the initial condition may not have even been very great for a person, especially if they'd had trauma in their past and that sort of thing. So we'll also be looking at questions such as, how do we distinguish psychotic experiences and beliefs from things we might consider to be spiritual experiences and beliefs that aren't a problem and where maybe no help is needed. And then when help is needed for experiences that are to varying degrees, psychotic or problematic, we'll be looking at how to provide some help while also continuing to be open to talking about and exploring the spiritual aspects of experiences that may exist alongside whatever problematic is going on. And we'll be exploring what are the challenges as well as the possibilities that emerge when we're willing to have such complex conversations. So there is a lot to be explored. Now I'd like to say something about the practical aspects of this course. It's a self-paced course with recorded videos, which means you can go through it as quickly or slowly as you like. You can also go back and review the videos later, even years after you've completed the course. You'll retain access to it. You will be able to download the PowerPoint slides separately if you want to. There'll be a link for that. And if you come up with questions that aren't getting answered within the course, you will be able to email me and I'll get back to you at least within a few days or something like that. My email address is on the first PowerPoint slide. If you need continuing education credit for the course, you will have to complete an evaluation for the course and then pass an exam, like a multiple choice exam. You'll have to get a score of at least 75%. But it should be pretty easy if you've completed the course, and if by chance you do fail the first time, you can take it a second time and a third time. Anyway, I hope that's enough information to get you excited about the course and to want to dive in. But if there's anything I haven't addressed that you're still wondering about, please do feel free to email me your questions. And thanks for your interest in this important subject.